Hello, this is Molly Reamer with Bridget's Grove and 30 Days of Goddess with this week's Rituals of Returning video. This week we are using the Daily Practice Companion deck, the Sacred Traveler Oracle Maya Toll's Wild Wisdom Companion, and an assist from Earth Runes, which is the Oracle card deck I was building with the Goddess Magic community over 2024. It's now complete and has been archived for further development and professional printing, but I'm continuing to draw upon and explore these cards over the course of the new year, and the digital version is available for purchase on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/goddessmagic. And so anyway, we're actually going to go ahead and start with that card, and we received the Elder. This is the rune of wisdom, of knowing, of listening, of keeping counsel, of self-possession, authority, standing in your personal power. Also can be a card of the ancestors, of a legacy, and shaping the path. So this card invites us to consider, where are we drawing wisdom? Who are we keeping counsel with? Who is inspiring us? Who is helping us understand things, but also how are we offering those things? How are we offering wisdom to others? And how are we consulting? How are we helping to shape the path? And also reminds us to tap into our own inner wisdom, what I refer to as our own inner genius, listening to the wisdom within, keeping our own counsel, resting and standing in our own power, our own authority, and our own self-possession. And then let's go ahead and see what our Daily Practice deck has to say. So grow is the word. So may we grow in our own wisdom, in our own power, and our own understanding. And then a practice, kneel down and rest your palms on the earth. This is a really powerful and important and simple grounding practice, which also helps us to grow into our own power and our own self-possession and our own inner authority, is to kneel down and rest your palms on the earth. Then there's a little prayer, which is actually how we will close today, so I'm not going to read that right now. And then our card from the Sacred Traveler Oracle, traveling lightly. So this one made me smile because at the time of this recording, I am actually still traveling. I will be home by the time the recording is published, but it reminds me that one of the things that I enjoy about traveling and about being somewhere else is that it's because we've simplified and pared back what we need to only what we have with us. So instead of all the Oracle decks, I only have the ones I'm actually using. Instead of all the goddesses, I only have the ones that I'm actually working with. Instead of all the clothes, I only have the few sets of clothes that I'm wearing over those weeks or whatever. And so there's something that's really nice about that traveling lightly sensation of being away from home, of being gone, is that you're traveling lightly. But I think this is an important reminder at this time of year to simplify your life. I often write about and speak about and remind myself to keep it simple and sacred. We often make things more complicated than they have to be, and it's okay to keep it simple and sacred. So this year, I do have 4 kids. I have lots of interests. I have lots of stuff. I've lived in the same house for 18 years. There's a lot to let go of. So I'm focusing this year on decluttering and letting some things go, especially letting things go that are parts of an old self or parts of an old dream. Like I joke about, my family isn't really the kind of family that plays in-depth board games, but I have a closet full of board games because the dream self has a family that loves to play board games together. And we do have certain games that we like to play together, but we have lots of other things that we prefer to do too. And it's not just the dream self. I get bored with playing a large board game too, so it's not like it's just my kids that are the issue, though I'll tell myself that sometimes. It's really, it's just, we have other things. We are vibrant, passionate people who have lots of things that we're interested in, and playing a board game that takes more than an hour is a lot to expect of us. And so things like that need to be, they belong to a dream self, an idealized vision of someone who plays board games all the time. It's time to let some of that stuff go. So how might you simplify your life? And it can be mental, it can be emotional, it can be relational, or it can be actually physical, actual stuff that you want to simplify and let go of. So checking in with what the book actually has to say instead of just my interpretation of our interpretations are good too, but let's see what the book has to say about this one. Release what doesn't support you. A busy life creates static. Clear both the internal and the external clutter. Do what matters and release the rest to find peace. And I actually wrote a poem just this morning when I was walking on the beach, which again, you will listen to this after that. But I was looking out into the waves and it was really wild and windy. And I asked, like, what do I need to know to have the life I want? And the answer was do less and let go of more. Do less and let go of more. That doesn't mean let go of the things that matter. What it means is like reducing the static, reducing the clutter, whether it's activity based or personal or thing based, but reduce the clutter. So clear internal and external clutter, do what matters, release the rest to find peace. So it's not saying don't do anything, because that's not static, that's stagnation. Is you don't want to stagnate and do nothing. And that's what I was thinking too on the beach, is like, I'm full of the fire of purpose. I'm just alight with enthusiasm and full of purpose and devotion. And I don't want to inhibit myself from sharing those things or letting those gifts shine forth. But it's important to let go of the things that aren't working or that you don't actually need to do. And then you can do more of what matters. Do what matters and release the rest to find peace, grace, and stillness. The Sacred Traveler wants you to know, on our journeys, we often gather things that don't support us, and it is time to say goodbye to those things that do not bring out the best in us. Keep what works, let go of the rest. Doing what is essential and releasing everything else is one of the fastest ways to align with the tranquil vibration of the spiritual realm. Clear things from your schedule that do not advance your life. Even a small amount of this cleansing can make an immense difference. I do have to acknowledge there that I think there can be a little bit of a risk that, and I've shared that before, that letting go of what doesn't serve you is a phrase that I caution against using too often, because it creates kind of a sense of everything's here to meet my needs. And that's not true. We live in an interdependent reality, and we co-create things. We live in an interconnection thing. Not everything is here to support you or serve you. And we do have to be careful that we don't cut out so many things that we're not contributing to community care, that we're not contributing to connection, that we're not relationship building. Like if we're cutting everything out just because it's not convenient, or it's not quote unquote supporting us or serving us, then we miss the opportunity for some of the rich and complex texture of life and relationship. So don't let it make you think that you're supposed to like have everything be easy and never be inconvenienced, because sometimes relational life and interconnection and community building involves complexity, it involves challenge, it involves things that can feel hard, difficult, complicated, or messy. So just because something feels hard, difficult, complicated, or messy doesn't mean you have to let go of it. There's discernment necessary in letting go. So keeping what matters is important, and what matters can sometimes feel complicated or messy or a little sticky and involve effort. It takes effort to tend friendships. It takes effort to grow communities. It takes effort to maintain a daily practice that nourishes your spirit. It's not always the easy way, and just because it isn't feeling easy doesn't mean it has to go. So that would be my caution there: is don't get sucked into the sensation that like everything just gets cut out if it doesn't feel blissful all the time, or if everybody's not, if you're not the main character. You don't have to cut everything out. Okay, so coming back into the dreaming now, this is a seasonal symbol from the Wild Wisdom book of early winter. And I think the dreaming is the place to which you can retreat when you need to just be, or when your quest for answers goes beyond the bounds of linear reality or everyday thinking. This is a realm of personal metaphor and personal symbols. Your place of dreaming is where you can simply be yourself. And so don't try to manipulate the dreaming to your own preconceived notions. Learn from what it is, because it will tell you who you are. The dreaming calls us to step out of our daily way of thinking and being and relax the hold our minds have on our hearts, so we can access deeper metaphoric forms of knowing. So the gifts of the dreaming are healing and rejuvenation of your spirit, a sense of peace and inner knowing. The challenges are balancing the world of the dreaming with everyday reality and finding ways to carry the lessons of the dreaming into daily life. So how are you dreaming? Do you have space for dreams? Space for dreaming the world you wish to see into being. And then we're going to go ahead and close with the little prayer from the daily practice deck, which is, it connects really well, I'm just realizing, to the elder and to this rune of wisdom. May I be inspired by a council of goddesses, curling through dreams, drifting on steam, whispering in shadows, singing at sunrise, threading through winds, rising on waves, seeping through my feet, settling in my bones, burning in my fingertips, their voices chiming through time in blood and soul. So may you travel lightly, may you simplify your life, may you be inspired by a council of goddesses, may you grow in wisdom, discernment, and dreaming. Thanks so much for being here. Keep living your magic. Bye-bye.